Okay, we are rolling. We just had an interesting football game.
Ooh.
Yep.
I know I've got some friends that are big Chiefs fans, so.
Yep, the Chiefs did it.
Go
Amazing.
y'all.
Go
I just
y'all.
sometimes like to see kind of, and I don't know if the Buffalo don't knock
Yeah,
that tape.
I wanted Josh Allen and the Bills.
I don't know if I
obviously.
would call them underdogs, but they probably are.
And now Christian is, of course they were. And Christian is now wanting the Eagles to get stomped by the Chiefs because, not just because they were, used to be rivals of the Cowboys, but the Cowboys were a decent team, but because he wants to see the first three-peat. And we were so close back in the Aikman, Emmett, Irvin days.
I know.
3 and 4 years.
Do you remember? Right? Oh, this is interesting.
Okay. Tell it.
So Wednesday will be January 29th, Chandler's 31st birthday.
Yep.
And when she was born, the day she was born, C-section, I think was the next day's Super Bowl. And you felt so bad because you wanted to stay at the hospital, but we knew the Super Bowl.
And the birth of my first child to see a Super Bowl.
I was just going to sleep.
I think it was around the playoff game. Bills, Cowboys.
I literally
You think it was Super Bowl?
Well, but would it have been that early? You know what?
I'm
Maybe
thinking
somebody
of the
can
biggest
Google
comeback
that.
in history. And I don't know why 55, that scores in my, but maybe that's because today isn't that what the Eagles scored against
Don't know.
the
But
Commanders?
maybe somebody, y'all can Google that.
Well,
January 29th of 94.
but I think we were both at that game, Stephen Kelly's. We were both, I remember you wearing that little sweatshirt with the white turtleneck underneath.
You know what? No way.
Can you believe that?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Got the laptop in my lap.
Okay.
By the way, we're going to have a shorter episode. That's our gift to our listeners. We said we were going to go 30 minutes, I think, and we went 53 minutes last time. We are going to go no longer than 30 minutes.
Yes, hold us to it.
Did you set the timer, by the way?
I did not. Remember last
Look at where
time
we
your
are.
alarm went off?
No.
It's like, okay, yeah.
You got the time?
You know what? Right now
Okay.
is some people's bedtimes. People
Right.
are in bed right now.
Well, we're recording this a lot later than we normally do. We do it earlier in the week, but this was an interesting week.
Yeah.
We did our practicum. We are going to give you guys some amazing tools for marriage today. We're not talking about intentions for the new year. We're not talking about vision retreats. We are talking about marriage and relationships. But before that, I'm going to, I don't know why I can't pull this up. You keep rolling, GarageBand. And I'm going to pull up Spreaker. This is our podcast hosting platform. And so we said we weren't going to do shout outs. We went to Hey Hey's last time. And way to go, Watson, on the Hey Hey.
I like Hey Hey's the best.
We're going to do, I wanted to start something new tonight. But if it's going to be Hey Hey's.
I mean, shout outs is not new. Shout outs are old.
No, that's why we wanted something new. And now, Hey Hey, I thought, we may have ridden that horse as long as we want to ride it.
I don't know. I think that should be our shtick. Hey, hey.
By the way, you look lovely and very comfy. No, I always, and look, I'm in sweatshirt and sweatpants. And again, nobody's ever going to see down there. No, don't do that. Wow. But no, here we're going to do our Hey Hey's then. We'll just stay with that.
Okay.
We still have Norway, United Kingdom, and Mexico. We have some new listeners from Mexico.
Wow.
Quintana Roo.
Ooh.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Have we been there? That's by probably by Cancun.
Sources a lot. Okay, back to this. So Norway, United Kingdom, and United Kingdom, let's say England and Scotland. That's very cool. I just love this. But I wanted to give, and I feel like I'm talking away from the microphone, but hopefully you guys can hear me. I wanted to give some Hey Hey's to, so in the United States, we have Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, New York, Michigan, Wyoming. These are people listening in these states.
I love it.
Maryland, Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, Indiana, Arkansas, and 7 in other. I have no idea.
What is other?
Why wouldn't they list it?
What is other?
Because some of these, like Indiana has 1, Arkansas has 1.
Interesting.
Oklahoma was representing, but Texas, has the lion's share at 142. But all you people in New York, you four in Michigan, you three
That's
in Wyoming,
great.
good for you. And we thank you and we welcome you
We do.
back in. So this is awesome. Let's see here. So we're going to speed it along, aren't we?
Yep.
This week has been a great week. We started the practicum and the pre-work for a marriage mediation certification that we will be completing later this month.
Yes.
And so we've got, matter of fact, if I look over here, people can't see this, but on our board over here, we have, we have 5 couples in the overhaul package process. We have 3 couples in the hitting the road and 2 more coming. So that's going to be 5 in the hitting the road package. So we have our premarital hitting the road package with wedding officiant, and we have the overhaul, which is like a complete, hey, let's don't just
Like,
fix
help
the
me,
old, let's
help
start
me.
something brand new. Couples coming to us want to overhaul their marriage, and man, we are loving that. But we are going to be adding something to our tool belt.
We
And
need
it's-
a bigger board is what we need.
We're going to need, I told you that. I said we
Sorry.
needed the bigger board.
I'm not like a huge thinker, okay?
Do I need this anymore? I don't think I need this. But you know what I will need? I will need, and we can maybe edit this out, but actually we'll just leave it in because I'm going to need my phone. But what we do need to talk about is the, so along with the practicum, we did, hang on one second.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
And the practicum that we did was 4 hours, but then there was, I don't even know how much I don't know how many hours the pre-work took, which you're going to talk about that. But anyway, that's, that was some good work getting ready for that. And
Yeah.
then now we have a lot of pre-work before.
And then
You know,
3
this-
days for
yeah.
the certification. And but the thing we're adding to our toolbox or toolkit or tool belt or whatever is an intensive. So instead of meeting 3 or 4 weeks or 5 weeks or sometimes 6 months or a year with a couple, 1 hour at a time, this is where they come in and you spend an entire day or 2 days in a marriage intensive. And this intensive mediation has a very, very high success rate. We've heard incredible things about it. We've already learned so much, and it's been really, really cool. We're excited about that. So in the preparation, they asked, did you do the strength finders? And many people have heard about all the different personality tests, right? Myers-Briggs and Kiersey-Bates, DISC, the Enneagram. A lot of people use different tools, and they find it, the people code, the color code that we just went over last year, find it really helpful when you're talking about the differences in your relationship between you and your spouse or your significant other. And it's understanding how they're wired so that you can relate to them better, so you can communicate better with them, so that you can handle conflict and you understand where they're coming from. And it can be an eye-opener. It's so funny how we walk into this blind and how illuminating that can be.
And how they say opposites attract, and how at first you think, oh, that's just so sweet. I love that about them, those differences and then before long you're like, you are bugging
Yeah.
the crap out of me, or,
Yeah. It's the thing that endears you, and then it becomes so annoying. And like, why is that, right?
But what if we were the same? That would be so horrible.
The same is boring.
Yeah.
You want someone that you can contend with, someone that's different, someone that can challenge you, that can make you grow. You do not want someone like you, but you think you do. And that's the effort. When you come into marriage, the effort is sometimes we try to change that person. And if we think about it, we're trying to change them into someone who thinks like us, acts like us, believes like us, and all that. That could be so boring. In marriage, we think it's supposed to be this thing that, what's happened to our table?
It's fine. I don't know. It's got a little.
It may have too much stuff on it.
No. She's got a little hitch and it's get along. It's
Yep.
okay.
So we think, look at that.
Okay. Keep
So we
going.
think that marriage is going to be this thing where we come in and it's just marital bliss. But the two becoming one is something that is very difficult. It's the goal, but it's something very difficult when all those differences, arise. But what's cool, so I'm looking at our little strength finders we did. It's the Clifton, the top 5. And so Jamie's top 5 is empathy, woo, includer, positivity, and connectedness. And Brian's top 5, maximizer, achiever, belief, learner, and intellection. And we're not going to dive into those and read what they are. And maybe that's for another podcast. I mean, I would highly recommend it, going and doing the Strength Finders deal or Strengths Finder 2.0, Clifton top 5.
I will say when we do those, the intensives,
the marriage
that
mediations.
will be a part of that.
That'll be a part.
Which I think will be really cool.
But what we found so interesting is none of your top 5 are on mine. None of mine are on yours. We are very, very different.
So different.
But when you look at that, that could be a train wreck, and it was for us, or it can be one of the most fulfilling things when you realize that when you put us together, instead of being at odds and in contention, we are a great dream team. We've got so much as the complete package. And and we realize that now, and we've grown into that. So, but yeah, that was cool. And so tell me, we've talked about the early days and how it was just that we were bugging each other, we annoyed each other, trying to change one another. But I guess in your humble opinion, what has been the biggest surprise for you as far as like the differences, my strengths, like on the Strength Finders, and then, or just the revelation that helped you relate to me? Anything come to mind?
I think once we kind of worked through like fighting for our right to be right, once you start this, this fighting and you are both stubborn, it's like, even if I wanted to see the goodness in you or what you brought to the table or how you made us better, I was so blinded by the hurt that I had experienced, from you, us, going sideways, hitting heads. And the pride in me couldn't even admit, like, okay, bow down, Jamie. He might have a good point, or let's listen. We both were just like in a gridlock, because we both were just so defensive that we couldn't even see through that to appreciate what we brought to the table. So I think what we started at, when I first met you, and I thought, oh, I love it, so cute, whatever. And then life starts to happen and the, shines off the penny, and you both kind of just start like living life and not being on your best behavior or whatever. And then all those things then on top of that become just annoyances, these weird, just, whatever, idiosyncrasies or whatever. You're like, oh, that's just, ugh. And then you just start, to fight about different things. And then you kind of put down the gloves and say, okay, we don't want to be in this, like you call it, a lifelong, what do you say, boxing match?
Yeah, or life sentence of hell.
If it's
still death do us part.
Like
you want it to be something.
Let's figure this out. Because what drew us to each other? Let's get back to that, but even in a healthier way, not like rose-colored glasses, but no, I see the real you, and the real me, and we value the differences that we have. And so now I think after 35 years, we've kind of gotten to that point where we're like, it's great that we're not the same. Yeah.
And we talk a lot about unhealed wounds from our past, the roots, those hurts, and that baggage we bring in. But also, this just the way we're made up, the way we are wired, the way God created us, and that shows up in all of these different personality or strengths tests. It just dawns on you, that's who they are, right? I mean, I should have gotten that a lot long ago. This whole like connectiveness for you and woo, includer. that could so bug me. Just how, before I remember literally having this thought, thinking, and I may have said this in one of our previous episodes, but like, you know what? Look at her. She's just acting so unselfish. She's just acting like she cares about all these people. It's like, really? She cares about all those people. She's really unselfish. Yeah. It's just trusting that that's the way God created this person and that they're valid and it's like worth something and it's treasuring that. So there's the idea from some that there's this, we joke about it, this, my person, you're my person. Like there's this soulmate out there. And although God did give us free will and we could have picked anyone, I still believe that God's providential hand brought us together. I believe that. With all the free will and the fact that there's not one person and that's soulmate, but God brought us together. And when you can go back to trusting that, because there were a time where I lost the belief in that, but I believe that to my core and it changes everything. Like I trust God that he gave me this gift. Like you're a treasure. Yeah. You're a gift to me and our marriage and the way all your top 5 and my top 5 together, that's going to be something beautiful, something not to be tolerated, to be valued and like embraced and like, let's maximize that. Let's just capitalize on that.
One thing that just hit me that's kind of interesting is, as you move through your relationship, there's going to be different seasons of stress, crisis or trauma or buying a house or remodeling a house or starting a business, different seasons of stress. And sometimes you feel like you can kind of go backwards. And I feel like we have experienced that when we are both under, intense stress, we can go back into that kind of selfish model that we were in before and just thinking, wow, you're a weirdo. Why are you dealing with this like this? When really, I think with, once we get to a certain point, I do feel like every single time we enter stress, we enter on a good note, saying, okay, this is going to be a difficult time. Just remember, don't take it out on each other. What are some things that we can do to, make it as peaceful and healthy as possible, Yeah. So that's just an interesting thing to think about. It doesn't matter how far you've come or how long you've been married. When you enter a stressful season, you tend to just go to the lowest common denominator of you both, Yeah. So we kind of have to stay on guard and just know that before times of intense stress, have those conversations. And you've always been really good about that with us or with the kids or whatever.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So one of the things that we did this week, which I highly, highly recommend this. Oh, and man. You know what? Let's do this. Let's put this. I think I'll put them in the notes of the podcast.
Okay.
And let's also put them in the newsletter. Yeah.
That'll be good.
Update the blog on the website. Okay. So, or you can just, back this up and listen to these several times. But this was just an exercise where you wrote a letter to your spouse. And we talk a lot about the value in just sitting down and spending 5 minutes. We go out to the back porch and watch the sunset. And especially these last few chilly days, we're not spending, we spend our 3 minutes in the pool. And we don't spend a lot of time outside in this wind chill, but sometimes just the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes of sitting down, looking your spouse in the eye and saying, here's what you mean to me, or how was your day? Or, hey, thank you for this. Or, hey, check in. How are you doing? Or, here, let me tell you some stuff that I'm feeling today. And those are valuable. But this, like sitting down and taking some time with some prompts to write a letter to your spouse and include certain things. Wow. Ooh. You want to talk about emotional. And just me writing this thing, it brought a lot of emotion, a few tears. And then
I had a lot of tears.
you wrote yours. You had
That's
some
very
tears as
sweet.
well. And then when we shared them with one another, you just read that letter. So I mean, I can't recommend this high enough. Just sit down and take these prompts, just maybe 2 or 3 of them, but I'm going to give you a few, and write the letter, and then just share it with your spouse. Man, you want to talk about just reigniting passion and intimacy at a whole new level. This has been so good, and it was really fun. So one of the prompts: write about what your parents modeled for you regarding marriage and how that affected your expectations about marriage. Write about anything from your past that you believe had an impact on you, whether it was a tragedy or triumph or both. What you remember about meeting your spouse in those first few years together. How you have been affected mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically in the marriage. Admit to any baggage you brought into the marriage and disclose if you believe you have successfully unpacked this baggage or if you believe you still have some unpacking to do. Own how you have contributed to the dysfunction of the marriage. And then write about the gifts and or strengths you believe you bring to your marriage. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Listening to that.
Yeah.
And describe how you wish your marriage looked. What are your specific desires for your marriage? Yeah, and look, as I read through those prompts, and it was an emotional deal because we looked back, and I thought about what it looked like in year 1, in year 5, 10 years in, but then what it looks like 35 years. So we had a lot of triumphs. We had a lot of triumphs, and we are so glad, you know. But I would just encourage, I'm just thinking about people in different stages. This can be a really hard exercise right now. It could be really, really hard. It could be brutal. And, as we've done this, we talk to so many blended families. We think about, and, I just wanted to say this as well. Somebody I was talking to this week, they said they were ready to run to the courthouse on their spouse, and they said, "But I heard you say don't quit on a podcast." But I want to say this too. Some of you obviously have been in a marriage and are no longer with that spouse, and sometimes we know this. You didn't want to quit, but that partner quit, right? And sometimes maybe you quit, and this is an unpopular opinion for some, but because people say God hates divorce, and I say he hates a bad marriage too. That covenant might have already been broken. And sometimes the Holy Spirit in you does not deserve to be injured over and over and over again if that spouse is unwilling to transform and be in a God-honoring covenant. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just, sometimes of course, because my top one is empathy. I feel what other people might be feeling.
Yes.
And even in the name long haul marriage, sometimes I have been, I guess, concerned that many people that I know and love who aren't in a long haul marriage right now, or maybe they're in their second marriage, but they've, have maybe some guilt about the first one that didn't work out or whatever. I've been worried that they might feel like, a little bit ostracized or a little bit judged or a little bit less than. And so I'm so glad you said that, because that is so not our heart, But what I have been so encouraged by is those same friends who have been extremely supportive, who maybe their heart is broken, shattered because they wanted a long haul marriage. And for whatever reason, they don't, but they're still so encouraging. They're like, man, this just listening to y'all just helps me so much. And I'm like, okay, awesome. So if anybody does feel any of those negative emotions that I was just saying, I just kind of want to take that off the table. So I'm glad that you kind of talked about that, because that's opposite of what our heart is. It's not like, oh, well, womp womp, y'all didn't make it. So we're disappointed in you or whatever, gosh, our heart is yes. If you can stay in it, if you can not quit and be in it for the long haul, do. But we know that there are situations where that doesn't happen. And man, we're going to love you through it. And, we want to help you however we can. And, our heart is for you. So anyway, yeah.
That's good.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, I'm looking at the time.
Oh,
we're almost
my
there.
goodness.
Can you believe that?
I know. That was
I said
quick.
we were going to give them a gift to
Yes.
today. So if they're on the Stairmaster at the gym, this can be their deal. And when we sign off, you can be done at the Stairmaster.
Done.
Yeah. Anything else before we call it?
I'm just going to say again that we are really excited about adding this new amazing tool to our toolbox. Thank you for the incredible David and Janet Tatum who told us about it, encouraged us highly in it. Just really thankful for them.
Thank you guys.
And excited about that new tool and ready to start booking some intensives
yes.
soon.
And we will travel.
Wherever you are.
So Norway to Michigan.
We're coming for you.
Hey, we have a couple of minutes. Yeah. Heck yeah. Cancun. Isn't it Mejera? How about, since this is going to be out on the 27th, how about you tell everybody about our opportunity at, we have three more spots on our Valentine's deal? Only
3 more spots unless the weather's beautiful and we can open up more of their area.
Okay, so it's not on Valentine's Day, but on February 22nd. So 222 at Justin Coffee.
February 22nd, Justin Coffee in Justin, Texas. Really fun night of love and lattes. It's from 5 to 7 on a Saturday. So we'll break in time for them to go out for a date night, have dinner, do something fun like that. But we are going to share with them kind of just things that we've learned along the way, things that we've done right, and many things that we've done wrong. But ways,
and just some really practical ways to express love in the mundane everyday, not on the mountaintop or just on February 14th.
Right.
Yeah. So some things that we learned.
I'm excited. So we'll have some snackies there, and I think coffee drinks will be available for them to purchase. Anyway, yeah.
Good.
So they can go to. I'm trying to think of the best way to tell them.
We'll put it on this episode.
Put it in the notes.
Yep. And also they can go to our social media on Long Haul Marriage. Website, longhaulmarriage.org, and they can go on the Instagram, Long Haul Marriage, your Instagram. Yeah. I think you posted it.
So the link is in the bio of all those things, and it'll be in the notes section. But if you are local, or even if you're not, and you want to fly in for a fun little date in Texas, join us February 22nd, 5 to 7.
Okay, so look into the Clifton Top 5 Strength Finder, and also how about backing that up and listen to the prompts and writing that letter to your spouse.
That's good.
And just
have some tissues close.
Yeah, have the tissues close. It was a great exercise. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, way to go, Mr. Hackney.
How about that? We did it.
We did it.
Okay. Adios.